In the presence of you all, under the tutelage of my very great teacher, I thank God to be here. Let us pray. God, we thank you, mighty God, for this, another opportunity to stand before you, God. And we ask, God, that as I, your humble servant, empty myself out to you, God, that you fill me to capacity so that I am running over and that your people ears will be open to hear and their hearts will be open to receive the word that you have today. Lord, use me as your vessel. I am your humble, mortal instrument in this place. In Jesus' name I pray. Thank God. Amen. Amen. And the scripture has been read. I just want to lift up in your hearing one more time. Verse 20. And behold, thou shalt be dumb and not able to speak until the day that these things shall be performed, because thou believest not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season. All right. Amen. Anyone who knows me knows that I love to watch Disney movies. And among my favorites is Disney's award-winning animated film, The Little Mermaid. It revolves around the main character, Ariel, who is the youngest and most vocally talented of King Triton's mermaid princess daughters. Ariel, being dissatisfied with life under sea, longs to dwell on land, and she frequently visits the shore to people watch and collect remnants of human life. Compounding matters is the fact that Ariel has fallen in love with a handsome human prince. So her heart longs to be human so that she can live, quote, up where they walk, up where they run, up where they play all day in the sun. And it appears that Ariel is in a hopeless situation until, out of nowhere, Ursula, the sea witch, comes along and presents a proposition. She says that she can make Ariel human so that Ariel would then be able to pursue Prince Eric, live on land with him, and most importantly, live happily ever after. Ariel needed only to pay a small, insignificant price, Ursula asserts. For such an extravagant and thoughtful gift, Ursula wanted Ariel to give her her voice. Now, this is not a spoiler, so I'll spare you the particulars, but I'm sure I don't have to tell you that Ariel consents to the deal, and for the remainder of the movie, young, mute Ariel feverishly works to win Eric's love in her silence with no voice. In our text today, we meet another individual stricken with bearing the burden of silence. Only Zacharias had not entered into a half-cocked agreement with an insidious cephalopod. Instead, we find Zacharias at a literal loss for words because of his unbelief in the power of God. We all know the story. Zacharias and his wife Elizabeth were righteous before God. As a matter of fact, the Bible calls them blameless. Zacharias was a priest, and Elizabeth was from priestly lineage as well, being a descendant of the daughters of Aaron. The two were servants of God, and they followed the commandments of the Lord. Still, despite their piety, here we find them well advanced in years and having no children. No children. The ultimate stigma in a time when posterity represented status in favor with the Lord, and the absence of which represented just the opposite, dishonor and being displeasing in the eyes of God. Yeah. Fast forward to verse 8, where we find Zacharias burning incense in the temple. Gabriel, the angel of the Lord, appears to him and tells him that his prayers have been heard, and his wife Elizabeth will have a son that they are to name John. Much to the surprise and dismay of many, Zacharias does not immediately rejoice and release great praises unto the Most High God. Instead, he quizzically asks Gabriel, how's that going to happen? And comments that he and his wife are just way too old. At that, Gabriel seems to become unnerved and tells Zacharias that since he doesn't believe the word of the Lord, he will not be able to talk until his son is born. And Zacharias immediately becomes dumb. For those of you under the sound of my voice today, I've come to implore you, don't be dumb. Somebody look at your neighbor and say, don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb. And while the expression don't be dumb is commonly used in instances where someone has said something that sounds rather unwise, or when one is acting or presenting ideas in a manner that would suggest that they are ignorant or lacking a particular skill or ability, I am merely warning you today that whatever you do, be careful that you don't lose your voice. Somebody say, don't be dumb. Like Zacharias, which I think is a very interesting story, and I think we could learn a thing or two from this account. Well, what can we learn from Zacharias? Well, I'm so glad you asked. There are 3 things that I've learned from Zacharias that I want to share with you this morning. Point number 1, you've got to face your fear. Both Zacharias and his wife lived honorably and were said to be blameless before God. They were careful to keep a clear conscience before the Lord. So doesn't it intrigue you that even though they were righteous and observed God's laws, they were not able to have children? Especially in light of God's promise in Deuteronomy 7 that those who keep God's commandments would not suffer from infertility. I'm not making it up. Deuteronomy 7 and 12 says, if you pay attention to these laws and are careful to follow them, then the Lord your God will keep his covenant of love with you as he swore to your ancestors. He will love you and bless you and increase your numbers. He will bless the fruit of your womb, and verse 14 says, none of your men or women will be childless. The King James Version says it this way, there shall not be male nor female barren among you. Nevertheless, here we find them, following the will of God, having committed their lives to the Lord, living humbly and righteously, and still lacking one of the most outright signs of God's favor. Everything about the scripture illuminates the type of commitment they had to the Lord. Even at the very portion of the text where we begin, Zacharias is in the temple about to light the incense. Of all the tasks to partake in, this was the most sacred, most honorable of all the priestly duties. And it was a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence for the priest who did it. Zacharias was chosen for this most noble, most honorable, most sacred job in the temple. It was the closest any man could get to God, and yet his wife, who was also righteous in God's eyes, is barren. Now that just goes to show you that sometimes you're not experiencing trials and tribulations because you aren't walking with the Lord. Sometimes it's when you're closest to God that you experience the greatest hardship. Oh, I want to assert to you on today that if things are getting a little slippery, it's because you're oily. It's because you're oily. And I know that some of you don't want to admit it, but sometimes when you feel like you're experiencing the greatest season of barrenness, it's when you thought you were most connected to God. But Zacharias continues serving God and committing to his responsibilities in a manner that would suggest that he trusts and believes in the Lord, and that at the very least he reveres God. Yet when Gabriel appears before Zacharias, the text tells us that Zacharias becomes frightened. And I can imagine that he was there minding his own affairs, tending to the diligent duties of his priestly assignment, and the farthest thing from his mind was that he would encounter the angel of the Lord. And then out of nowhere, like a pop goes the weasel jack in the box, here comes Gabriel. Zacharias has prayed for God to bless him with a son. But was he truly expecting it? Because when it's upon him, he's afraid. Somebody say, face your fear. Sometimes that's how it is with us. I'm willing to bet that there's someone in this very sanctuary who is praying to God for something, but still experiencing anxiety about what you're praying for. See, we fast and we pray and we profess that we believe that God can do all things but fail. But if we were to be honest, some of us are fearful. We're afraid that we're never ever going to receive what we're asking for. And yet others of us are fearful that we might actually get what God has in store for us. So could it be the reason why we have yet to be blessed for what we're praying for is that we're too afraid? Zacharias was initially startled when he saw Gabriel, but when he realized that it was the angel of the Lord, his fear subsided. Because when you know it's God, you know it's good. And God has not given us a spirit of fear. So you gotta face your fear. Number 2, you've gotta find your faith. Zacharias is doubtful that God could allow his barren wife to conceive. And as disappointing as it may be for some of us that a clergyman, a man of faith, is lacking faith, it helps us to understand that questions and doubts have a role to play in our spiritual development. I know that many of us were raised not to question God, but Zacharias' questioning ultimately led to him and the people of God being blessed. As Elizabeth's pregnancy progresses, Zacharias' faith changes and becomes renewed. The people of God are witnesses to this, and in the end, God is glorified. Because Zacharias' responds to Gabriel in quite an unexpected way. But what about Gabriel's response to Zacharias? I would have thought that Zacharias' punishment would not only include him being made mute, but rather that because he didn't believe the word of God, the whole deal would be called off. Instead, Gabriel tells Zacharias that he won't be able to speak until his son is born. Now, I don't know about you, but I found a reason to celebrate in that, because what it tells me is that your lack of faith does not change God's plan or purpose for your life. I thank God for the fact that he still blessed me even when I had a hard time believing. Thank God for the fact that the purpose on my life wasn't canceled just because I couldn't conceive it. You ought to give God some praise, knowing that if he said it, then it seals it, even if you can't sometimes see it. And Gabriel let Zacharias know that for his punishment, he will be mute until his son is born, but his son will surely be born. And I don't care if you die. I don't care if you think you're not equipped or if you're too old or too young. God said that there's something that you're birthing and it will come to pass. You gotta find your faith like Zacharias found his faith as he went through the trial of not being able to speak. Why? Because faith comes by hearing. But if you're speaking, then you're not listening. And if you're not listening, then you're not hearing. Zacharias had to be shut up so that he would be able to hear the voice of the Lord and not his own voice speaking from fear and doubt. You need to make sure that you're listening for the voice of God as well. Pray, fast, spend time in God's presence so when God speaks, you'll be able to hear it and follow suit. You also need to monitor your own speech and make sure that when you talk, you're speaking victory and prosperity into your life. Healing, abundance, deliverance, breakthrough. I don't care if you're only talking to yourself. You need to hear yourself speaking well of yourself and find your faith. And lastly, you've got to finish your feet. After Zacharias encounters Gabriel and is made mute, he completes his priestly obligation, returns home, and impregnates his wife. That terrifying, unbelievable, impossibly daunting task that he initially doubted, Zachariah faces his fears. He finds his faith and he finishes his feet. We've got to be like Zachariah in that regard. We need to finish our feet. And there's something that God has commissioned you to do. That terrifically terrifying, unbelievably impossible, daunting task that you're hesitant to finish or even to begin, but you have to finish your feet. And that was the purpose of this whole sermon today. I came here to let you know that you have work to do and you can't be dumb. The definition of dumb is temporarily unable or unwilling to speak, uncommunicative, speechless, wordless, silent, voiceless. But you are not voiceless. You got a voice that's been given to you, A voice crafted especially for you and designed to empower you to affect change in your life and the lives of others. You've got work to do, but in order for you to finish your feet, you can't be dumb. You can't lose your voice. Your voice is how you show up in the world, how you express yourself and stand up for what you believe in. And I'm fully aware that for some of us it may seem too late. Some of us may feel like we've already lost our voice, or we've already been silenced, and maybe somebody won't give you an opportunity to use your voice. Or could it be that there's somebody who wants to try to silence your voice by undermining you or talking over you or overlooking your thoughts or ideas? And perhaps, like Ariel, you gave your voice away, thinking that in turn you would get something that you desired, but you were left with a mere fraction of yourself. But it's not too late. Every one of us in here still has a voice, and just like the people waiting outside for Zacharias, you've got to know that there is somebody waiting for you to let your voice be heard. Somebody's destiny is intertwined with yours, and if you don't finish the feat, their destiny is going to die. About 7 months ago, I began to lose my voice. I physically could not produce sounds or notes. The quality and tone of my speaking changed, and I grew increasingly concerned because I could hardly talk and I couldn't sing at all. I went to one doctor and she told me I had chronic laryngitis, but not to worry because it was going to go away. 2 more months passed. So I went to an ENT and I was diagnosed with vocal nodules. She did prescribe some medication, but she said that the best medicine for me would to be not to talk for 2 months. For 2 months, I had to be completely quiet. So when I was running out of here, I wasn't trying to snub you. Some of y'all was talking about me. Look, she thinks she all that. You don't even know that I was going through the hardest fight of my life. But I wasn't trying to snub you. I was just trying to follow doctor's orders. Because my voice, he told me I couldn't talk. I took some time off work. I didn't talk at all. The whole time I'm asking God, why, God? Why would you let me lose my voice? And then one day, as I was reading some literature on laryngitis that the other doctor had given me, a line in the pamphlet stuck out to me. It said that one of the most prominent causes of laryngitis is the misuse of your voice. And it became clear. I had to ask myself, how had I been using my voice? Have I been misusing it? What have I been speaking? And admittedly, it wasn't life-affirming words. So instead of allowing me to speak myself into damnation, God did me a favor like he did for Zacharias. He shut up my mouth so that in my silence I could remember that death and life is in the power of the tongue, and that the words of a wise man's mouth bring his favor, but the lips of a fool consume him. So even when things don't look like you think they should, you need to speak those things that be not as though they were. Now my constant prayer is, let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, God. You need to watch what you say, lest you become dumb. And my voice is in recovery now. But I'm sure that I'm careful about what I say. So when I speak to you on this morning, I'm speaking to you from experience. I'm telling you, don't abuse your voice. Don't misuse your voice. And whatever you do, you've got to face your fears. Find your faith and finish your feet so that you don't lose your voice. Because I don't want you to be dumb. But Zacharias was only able to speak again when he came into agreement with what God said. So I know there's somebody in here who needs to use your voice to give God a yes on today. You need to give God a yes, I'll join this church. You need to give God a yes, I was with you before, God, somewhere along the way I lost my way, but I'm coming back, God. You need to give God a yes. Yes, I will finish my feet. And if that's you on today, then I need you to come. I need you to come. If you know that this word was for you, then I need you to come. Come tell God, yes, use your voice.
Oh, no problem. Take your time, take your time.